What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. Every single day this week just gets crazier and crazier. We have some huge news in today's video regarding Apple stock earnings, Robinhood stock earnings, some crazy robot news with Tesla, some huge news with Bitcoin in the White House, and just some overall market movement. So stick with us to the end today, guys. We have so much important information, and like I said, every day just gets crazier and crazier. So Tom, with that being said, let's get right into today's video.
Yeah, Mike, there's lots of craziness. And the best thing to come out of it today is actually Apple. It's flying up. It's actually making new weekly highs here. It's breaking above the 164 resistance, which it's actually failed to break out above all week. So I'm really happy to see them flying up here. They had some amazing numbers. We can see the CNBC article shows that their revenue pops 11% to $123.9 billion. And if we look at the revenue numbers down here, they came in well above that 118.66 billion estimate. And that they really beat that. Their EPS came in well above the 1.89 estimate at 2.10 as well. And you can see all their revenue here on these charts. And really, I'm really happy to see that they gained with their iPhone revenue as well. That's great to see. And almost all of these numbers are up year over year, which shows that they've been growing in a pretty good way. And I just think that they're obviously the best company in the market for a reason by market cap. And I just think that this earnings goes to show how much of a powerhouse Apple truly is.
No doubt, and it's awesome to see this movement on just a tough day in the market overall. And it's awesome to see the great revenue numbers they reported even with all of the shortages and everything like that we have going on. So that's awesome to see, Tom. Tell us more about Apple stock, maybe for some support and resistance for tomorrow. What are the most important levels to watch?
Yeah, for this whole week, they've pretty much been trading in a range between 157 and 164 up here at the top. And now that we're breaking 164, we're actually retesting this slight resistance from earlier in the week around 166. I'll actually throw a smaller support line right there, or smaller resistance line, I should say, right there. But looking at it, if we pass above 166, the next resistance is going to be $170. And if we break out above 170, we might see Apple start to come back up towards 175 or even maybe 180 over the next few days. So definitely watch it. I know Apple's been one of those stocks that has been dipping over the past couple of weeks. And I know a lot of people have been eyeing this one up for a dip buy. And it looks like it would have been a pretty good idea before earnings here.
All right, so while we have a bunch of great movement with Apple, it's not the same story for Robinhood. So Robinhood also reported earnings after the bell. Tom, tell us more.
Yeah, same thing with Robinhood. They reported earnings, ended up tanking down 15% after they lost a lot of users, and their forecast for the next quarter is pretty weak. Obviously Robinhood's been taking a pretty big tumble ever since they IPO'd. They went up for 3 days with some explosive movement, and then they just started really tanking off. We can see their monthly active user numbers and stuff have really been falling, Mike. And looking at the chart, Robinhood on the daily is just looking awful. I cannot believe that they're down around $10 a share right now. I don't think people were expecting this. And, they definitely need a nice turnaround. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people were expecting maybe some more market volatility to help them out, but it just didn't come over the past couple of quarters.
Yeah, so the thing is their year over year growth in terms of fundamentals has been pretty good, but Tom, just like you said, their own forecasts are not looking too great. Their guidance isn't that good, and that's a problem because they are a growth company. Even though their stock has been selling off in a major way over the past couple of months, their valuation is still kind of high. It's right around that $10 billion mark. It fluctuates a lot, as we know, but the problem is they're a growth company and they're trading at some pretty decent valuations, and the problem is they're not really forecasting too much growth in the short term. And a couple numbers I have for everyone is Robinhood's Q4 transaction-based revenue came in at $264 million, and there was a $260 million estimate, which is good, right? But their problem is their Q4 crypto revenue was at $48 million, and they were expected to have nearly $52 million in that crypto revenue. So it's like that's a crypto is like an industry that's growing so rapidly where like you would kind of expect that to be at least a little higher or at the bare minimum meet expectations. So Robinhood, it's not looking the best right now.
Yeah, it's really not. It's unfortunate to see also. And, a lot of traders have been eyeing up Robinhood over the past few weeks, and they're probably pretty disappointed to see these earnings make the stock fall. Like you pointed out, though, I'm really happy to see that the revenue came in pretty good. I think that was great to see. But in the end, though, it sucks to see that those active users are down, and I'm really upset to see that they didn't announce an increase in trading volatility like we were kind of hoping. So it just sucks to see in the short term. I still think that they might be a pretty good pickup, maybe over the next few months. But yeah, for right now, it's just not looking good in the short term. And honestly, I don't think I'll play it even to the downside here just because it's so low in price and so volatile.
Yeah, it's not really a play for me right now. They have potential, but they're a growth company and they're not really growing like they should be given their current valuations. And that's a problem. And like Tom, just like we were talking about before we even started recording, back in the day when Robinhood first launched, everyone went to Robinhood because they were really the only broker with commission-free trading. But nowadays, every brokerage, for the most part, has commission-free trades. And then another thing too is like there's a lot more brokers nowadays than there were back when Robinhood, I guess you can say, started. And like they have some pretty fierce competition. Like I know Webull has been growing at a pretty crazy pace over the past year or so, and it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's just a really crazy thing to see how a lot of these other brokers have been implementing a lot better software. Like whenever we look at Robinhood, they're pretty lacking on their charts. Like whenever we look at the charts, they have the simple line charts and stuff like that. And you can't really do much on there as far as technical analysis or anything like that. And I feel like that whenever we look at some of these companies like Webull, they've innovated a lot better and they've made a lot more solid of platforms at least. And, Robinhood's also taken flack for selling people's data and order flow and stuff like that. And, we all know that Robinhood has not been as popular as it was back whenever it first came out with those free commissions. I think that was really big, Mike, that everybody else started kind of hopping on that free commission train, especially like TD Ameritrade. That's huge for them that they now have commission free trading.
No doubt. So, Tom, tell us more about what's going on with Tesla and their new robot. Like, I know the stock has been all over the place, but what's this news going on with their robot?
Yeah, this is actually pretty insane. Tesla announced today that they're going to be making a robot, and Elon Musk actually said that he thinks it has the potential to be more significant than the vehicle business over time. And that is that's a pretty big statement coming from Elon Musk. He says it's probably the most important product that Tesla is going to be developing in 2022. That's a huge statement. And we can kind of see the rendering here, like a prototype drawing of like what this is going to look like. I guess you could call this like a concept, but it looks pretty cool, to be honest. And, I know people have been talking about robots for a long time, and Elon's been one of the main players in this type of sector. So it's pretty cool to see him coming out with something like this. And if you guys have never heard of robots like this, there was actually a movie out with Will Smith. I believe it came out around like the early 2000s. And Will Smith pretty much went to war against like a whole army of robots, kind of like what Elon Musk is building. I'm not saying it's going to end up like this, but it's a very interesting movie that kind of shows like how these robots can be used in society. It's just a very interesting thing for the future, Mike. And honestly, I cannot believe that he said it's going to be bigger than the car industry here.
That's the big thing, Tom. Like, I know there's been some hype with Elon in the robots for some time now, and that's awesome. But to hear Elon say, it can potentially be the most important product and eventually like take over like his car side of Tesla, like that's pretty big. So it's just something to keep in mind, and I guess it should be good for Tesla over the long term. In the short term, Tesla stock will do what it always does, and it'll move in volatile ways. Like we can see it's down like 12% today, but either way, it's definitely good to hear that news. And then, Tom, I know we even have more important news with like cryptocurrency in the White House. So what's going on there?
Yeah, today has been a crazy day, guys. There's so much news coming out. Let us know in the comments which type of news you guys found to be the biggest market mover today. There was so much stuff. We can see the White House even came out and said that they want to regulate crypto as a matter of national security. The Biden administration said that they're preparing to release executive action that would task federal agencies with regulating digital assets such as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And we can actually see, looking at Bitcoin's chart here, Bitcoin took a pretty big tumble last night heading into today, and even throughout the day today started falling down a little bit on the 5-minute chart. It definitely has not been looking good this week, and even over the past couple months, Bitcoin has really been falling. And obviously, Bitcoin has been pretty successful because I feel like a lot of people like it because it's not regulated. And now that the US might start regulating it, that might not be good news here.
Yeah, like I know eventually there has to be more regulation with it, which ultimately should be a good thing over the long term. It's just a matter, Tom, of like how much is the government going to regulate Bitcoin and other cryptos? Like I feel like if the regulations get too excessive, I feel like that could be a big problem. But then again, like I feel like Bitcoin and some of these other cryptos are like already too large where it's like I feel like I don't know, like I feel like they'll be fine over the long term.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like they'll be fine. And personally, I kind of feel like that if they start regulating it, I think that that'll actually help Bitcoin and Ethereum, because whenever you start regulating these, obviously it's going to make it a little bit safer. And I feel like more institutions and businesses might look at it as a viable currency. Like right now, obviously everyone uses the US dollar. And I feel like with Elon Musk and people like that, coming out and trying to tempt other companies and even making it so that their own companies can use Bitcoin, I think it's getting really integrated. And obviously, whenever they start regulating it, I really hope that it brings a lot more investors in, especially some of these investors who are worried because it's unregulated. You know, like obviously stocks and some of these bonds are pretty safe because of how regulated they've become. And, you know, I feel like the Bitcoin, the volatility might honestly get a lot better once this happens.
Very true. So, Tom, just like a quick market recap, how's the market overall looking? Is there like any major news with just like general stocks?
You know, there was some news that came out early in the morning that actually was pretty good. The US reported some great GDP numbers this morning, and we could see the market was popping up in pre-market in a pretty major way. And everybody was pretty caught off guard by this, and they were pretty excited for the day. But, you know, we can see that the SPY kind of got into a weird setup in the middle of the day. We were talking about this in Discord. It was almost in like one of these symmetrical wedge patterns here. Once it fell out of this to the downside, we just tanked off throughout the day. And I feel like some of this might have been coming off of bad earnings and stuff like that we've been seeing, kind of like with Tesla today. So definitely look at the overall market to the downside. Once again, it ended up red, but it was all over again, Mike. Like we've been saying that the market's been crazy all week, and it just continued to show us today that the volatility is sticking around for now.
Very true. So let's get right into the comments from the previous video. We have Corbin saying stocks on sale. I'm really looking to buy the dip, long-term hold. That's the way to go. In the market, we have a ton of volatility. No one knows with 100% certainty what's going to happen tomorrow, right? There's just too many catalysts and unpredictable events right now. But if you're buying solid companies that have true growth potential over time, they should do very well.
Yeah, I think that they'll do pretty good. You know, obviously a lot of stocks are down right now, and some of them are just moving in sympathy with other stocks, kind of like with what we're seeing with Zoom and other companies like that. Like they're reporting pretty good numbers and then they're still falling down. So I feel like that a lot of these stocks will be good for the long term, especially some of the more reputable companies. And, you know, we can even see that with Apple, Mike. Like they report some great revenue. We all know Apple's a great company, and they've been dipping a little bit lately too.
Yep. And then we have Krishna saying, thanks for your videos. What do you think about MRVL? So MRVL has been doing very well like over the past couple years. But the problem is like, I just feel like their fundamentals aren't good enough for me to buy this company at this time. You know, maybe if it falls a lot more, I would consider buying it. But for me, it's just not an A+ setup.
Yeah, me either. I would honestly eye it up maybe if we start to retest maybe the $50 support or maybe even $60. But yeah, I mean, it's not a setup for me either. It will be maybe once this downtrend ends, but you know, we can see it's actually almost like a falling knife right now with the way this one's falling.
Yep. Alrighty. So with that being said, we just want to give a huge shout out to our member of the day, which is B Square. Huge shout out B Square in the YouTube comments. Thank you so much for all of your constant support. We really appreciate it. And Tom, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have a Neo to the downside.
Yeah, with Neo, go ahead and make them break right below $20.96. And this one has been really going down.
Alrighty. With the next one, we have Run also to the downside.
Yeah, with RUN, go ahead and make them break below $23 even.
All right, with the last one, we have a BLNK.
Yeah, Blink charging, make them break below 1845.
All right, so we are watching these 3 plays for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the level Tom listed. But Tom, do you have any last minute plays or anything before we wrap up today's video?
You know, this has been one of the craziest trading weeks in a long time, Mike. I just cannot believe how crazy it's been. We had Powell speaking. We've had GDP numbers come out. We've had news with Ukraine. China even was mixed in throughout the week. Now we have news with crypto. I just cannot believe it. We can see the SPY has been, honestly, it's been unable to make up its mind this week ever since Monday. You know, we dropped in a huge way and then recovered right back. And every single day we flew up and then came right back down and then recovered back. I don't know which way the SPY is going to go, but we're trading in a pretty major channel here between 445 and a low of about 427. Once we break out of this channel one way or the other, I feel like the SPY will start to go on a pretty major or a pretty big run. You know, it's been consolidating for 3 days and I'm pretty scared it might be to the downside, but either way, I'm just going to wait for a break here. It's been such a crazy week and I just cannot believe some of the volatility that's been going on.
You know it. So guys, let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below. Let us know if you're buying the dip, if you're buying puts. Let us know what you're doing in the comments down below. I'm very curious. Besides that, if you guys liked today's video, please consider subscribing. We have awesome videos coming out every single day. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching.